What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story is called Manager Reveals Illegal Hiring Practices When Mistaking Me for an Applicant. Names have been altered out of consideration for the business owner. I'm a bit older. I've got grandkids in high school, let's put it that way. So I've been especially cautious about staying home during the COVID-19 pandemic. Part of that has, unfortunately, meant indefinitely cutting out my regular trips to the gym. So I invested in a couple of pieces of equipment for my house. I'd purchased them from a local fitness retailer who I'd selected in part because of their generous warranty and repairs agreement. But then, one of the machines broke. I called them up and all of a sudden, they were a lot more difficult to get on the phone than they were during the sales process. Wouldn't commit to a repair date, technicians never in, customer service always putting me on hold for ridiculous amounts of time, even though it was a small local store. Just endless. Finally, I decided to go over and sort it out in person. At this point, our state was only just beginning to open up, so things like fitness equipment stores weren't seeing a surge of foot traffic yet, and I was surprised to find about a dozen cars parked in the lot, mostly lifted trucks and Jeeps with Punisher stickers and similar embellishments. God dang. I figured that made sense for the kind of clientele whose first order of business after a nationwide shutdown would be to get to the gym equipment store. I didn't really think much else of it at the time. I was just coming from a full morning of Zoom meetings, so I was wearing business appropriate attire. Dress pants, pearls, knit turtleneck, the works. I came in and saw a line of buff, meaty guys lingering around near a counter, looking as though they'd also just come from work and figured they too were waiting to talk to customer service. They looked surprised to see me, but I figured it was because most old people are staying put right now if they can help it. I gave a polite wave and otherwise kept my distance. After a few moments, I realized the employees were calling the buff meaty guys by name and taking them into a back office to deal with their concerns, and I figured it was a social distancing measure. So I went over to a guy wearing a store uniform, calling names, and asked, "Excuse me, do I have to take a ticket or get my name on a list or something?" He seemed surprised too. But again, I chalked it up to age. He said to wait a minute. I asked if I should get started on any paperwork. A lot of the guys were filling things out, and I figured they were claims related to repairs or other information I need to provide to expedite the process. But he just kept insisting I wait there. Meanwhile, a more senior guy kept surfacing every few minutes calling for people to talk to him in the back. "Brett, Tony." But the more junior guy pulled him to the side and pointed me out. I waved. The more senior guy came over and asked, "Hi, ma'am, are you sure you're in the right place?" And I replied, "Oh, definitely. I've been planning to come down here all week." And he said, "All right then, we can chat right now. You want to come on back? You ready?" The beefy guys were exchanging some puzzled looks, but I thought it was because I was jumping the queue. I assumed they were prioritizing me because I was at the highest risk. I said, "Oh, that's sweet of you, but these men were here before me. I'm fine to wait. Why don't you give me any requisite paperwork to take care of in the meantime?" But he just shook his head, going, "Well, before you fill anything out, why don't we talk first?" And off we went. I sat down in a small back office across from these two men at a desk. It seemed like quite the to-do over scheduling a simple repair, but I figured this was life in the new normal. So they looked at each other as though neither quite knew what to say, and I'm thinking, is this both their first day on the job? Let's get on with it here. Finally, the more senior one cautiously ventured, "So, do you have a lot of experience with the specificities, inner workings, and maintenance of gym equipment?" Now I'm thinking they're trying to find a reason to put me at fault and void my warranty or otherwise upsell me. So I shoot back the curt but truthful answer. "I've been working out every day for longer than at least one of you has been alive. I can look at any model on your floor and tell you what they do, why, and which features are necessary versus which features are just extra flash designed to line your pockets. And I definitely definitely know a working machine from a broken one, so I don't even know why this discussion is necessary. Just tell me what information you need, I'll sign what I need to sign, and let's get this taken care of." The more senior guy folded his hands on the desk and went, "All right, listen, I'm sure you're very experienced and do know your way around, but okay, listen, how old are you?" What? There was no universe in which he needed that information to get a repair tech to my house. I was really and truly lost at that point. Was he coming on to me? Was he insinuating there was no use in fixing my machine because I'd be dead soon enough anyway? What? What could that possibly have to do with anything? You have no right to ask me that. The more junior guy whispers, "Hey, yeah, I don't think you're legally allowed to ask that." So that's when it all starts to click for me. The senior guy, in rank only, he couldn't have been a day over 30, put his hand up in a shut up gesture to his partner and continues. I can't tell if he's trying to walk back his earlier statement or double down on it, going, "It's just that when the clients come in, they're gonna have a much easier time trusting someone who looks like them. So it's not even so much about age than that you're a woman." The junior guy gasps in pain dismay. "Bro, no!" and turns to me, switching into professional mode from night to day in an instant. "What my colleague meant to convey is that we are targeting a certain demographic," and he ran out of buzzwords with that sentence alone. They realized the situation was getting away from them at that point as I sat in silence, staring daggers into them. Finally, fully understanding that I'd walked into a pool of job applicants and been mistaken for one, I said, "You realize it's illegal to ask an applicant their age or discriminate on the basis of gender?" The senior guy definitely thought he had the situation handled as he exclaimed, "It's not really about us, ma'am. We're trying to keep you safe, you know? We're not saying you can't work here, like that you're incapable, just that you shouldn't. Like, we're doing you a favor by not considering you, really. There's a lot of heavy lifting that's not safe for older people. Your bone density decreases hand over fist as you age. Haven't you noticed that? And you'd be in the store alone sometimes with other employees. You'd be the only woman here. That would be very uncomfortable. For you, I mean." I wanted to be sure that I had my bases covered because I'm lucky to have stable employment, but plenty of my old bitty peers are struggling right now, and it infuriates me to think they're ever dealing with this kind of bullcrap. So I went, "Well, thanks for your concern, but times are tough and I'm qualified for this position, so I'd still like to fill out an application." The junior guy looked like he wanted to give me one just to make this end, but the senior guy said firmly, "For all the reasons I just outlined, I don't think that's a good idea. I'd heard enough. No way this infant sweat stain owned and operated a business, so I asked to speak to the owner. They said the owner wasn't reachable by phone. There was a tray of business cards on the desk, so I picked up the one with owner listed on it. While it did only have a phone number for the main business line, it also had an email. So I said, "Guess I'll just email him then. Now I need your full names." The junior guy said his name was Ken Lopez. Fine. The senior guy said his name was Brian Smith. I nodded and asked, "Hey, Brian, why's your shirt say Andy on it?" I found his real card and took it for my records. I didn't want to give the guy any opportunities to hide behind those bogus excuses. So as I turned to leave, I concluded a final time with feeling, "Just so we're clear, you're saying you will not even let me apply for the job because you won't consider me based on my age and gender." He tried to stay silent at first, but eventually cracked under pressure and babbled, "Look, it is what it is, ma'am," while his clueless junior counterpart said, "Good luck on the job search," and tried to offer me a coupon for my trouble of having driven all the way here. I had no sympathy for the junior one either, though, because he didn't give me an application back at the beginning when I still thought I was in line for customer service. He took one look at me and got his boss instead to weed me out. So I left shortly after that point and exchanged emails with the owner. I explained what had happened, not only that their people utilized discriminatory hiring practices, but that I'd arrived as a customer and no one greeted me or asked how they could help, to such a degree of negligence that this situation was allowed to occur without either ever realizing I was a customer. I still didn't get a job application, but that's quite alright. My current employer probably wouldn't be too thrilled to hear I was shopping other offers. What I did get was a swift, hassle-free repair of my machine and a direct number to contact for the future. The owner also later called to personally apologize and informed me the senior guy had been let go and the younger one disciplined. The kicker? The business owner was a woman! Yikes. Alright, this story's called Helped Woman with Her Makeup Purchase Only to Have Her Follow Me for Over 2 Hours Down Dark Streets. When I was in university in the UK, I was obsessed with MAC makeup, particularly with collecting every shade of lipstick in all of the limited edition packaging. I used to go to the MAC store at least twice a week, just for fun most times, and the makeup artists knew me by name. If it was super empty, we would try makeup on each other. That's so cool. Now that you know the background, let's begin with the kinda crazy woman. I was wearing denim dungarees with sandal. What? I had no makeup on and had my backpack on since I just finished with classes. Basically, there was no way I could actually work for MAC. They wore all black, makeup completely done. It was crazy busy because a very sought-after collection had just been released, and the makeup artists were swamped. In walks a sweet old woman with wide eyes and a big smile. She looks really confused, and I see her struggling with the lipsticks, my absolute passion at the time. I'm here enough to see how the associates handle this. So when she was trying to wear it straight from the display tube, I walked up to her and tell her that it's dirty and that she needs to sanitize it before she puts it on her lips. She didn't know how, and the artists who usually do it were busy, so I helped her. I also helped her pick out a lipstick since she kept following me around asking for advice as I browsed. I didn't mind. I wasn't busy anyway. Basically, looking on back, I see why she thought I worked there. I left about 5 minutes after this, when she was still in line to pay for her new lipstick in the store. I met friends for dinner and had a couple of drinks. I was out for at least 2 hours after I left MAC, a little buzzed and very happy. I began to slow walk home with my flatmates. I lived right in the city center, but it was an old pedestrian town. Not much, if any, traffic. I hear heels behind me and assume it's just another pedestrian, so I continue walking. No one called out to us, and the heels followed me all the way to our street, 20 minutes into my walk. So at this point, I'm actually a little taken aback. We were both content walking in silence, so the heels were very obvious, on cobblestone too. I turn around, but it's too dark for me to see the person, so I say, "Hi?" and all I hear is a giggle in response. I lose it and start running down my street with my flatmate. We're yelling incoherent things to each other. I don't even think my flatmate knew why I ran, but she just joined anyway. When I hear a woman scream,
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm so sorry.
we both stop and stare at this old but tall woman hobble run to us on her little clunky heels. She runs straight to me and stops like 3 feet away and holds out money. I'm absolutely shocked and looked at her in silence while panting with fear. She goes,
I never paid you your commission for your sale. I heard you get commission, but you had left and I did not want anyone else to get your money. I went after you, but I didn't want to disturb your time with your friends. I'm sorry for bothering you.
I was still just staring at her because I just couldn't put it together. I backed up again before it occurred to me. The MAC woman quickly told her I don't work there and had no idea what she was talking about. She immediately felt embarrassed. It was nighttime, but I could see she went a tomato red and started stuttering in apology. I asked her if she followed me all night, and she said yes. She just didn't want to bother me when I was with my friends and hoped she could get me alone as I walked back. My flatmate jumped in to say how petrifying this was, and I did mention it was creepy. She said she learned her lesson and won't do it again. She was just so happy with my service. She ended up apologizing and trying to hand me money anyway. It was 15 pounds if anyone is wondering. Old lady thought I would make the full value of the lipstick in commission if I made the sale. Bless her. We ended up walking her to her car. We were young and dumb and laughed about it. She drove a crazy expensive car, and that made me take a second glance at her. She looked expensive. I don't think she really knew how the world worked outside her wealthy little bubble. She pretty much admitted as much on the walk. She said this is her first time away from home by herself. Usually, her husband flies with her. She lives an hour's drive away, so... Huh? And her adopted daughters are away at boarding school in Switzerland. She had never been shopping by herself, and it was her first time in a mall. Suddenly, it made more sense. Wow, okay, you know what? Honestly, seems like a cool person to have as a friend, not just because they're rich, but just the different lifestyle. It just seems like a very interesting sort of person to, observe. Not that they're for observation, but, friendship and stuff. But that seems like a really cool lady. Very nice. I was definitely a little weird, but nice. 15 pounds can go a long way for a lot of people.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.